welcome back to the How to Podcast series. My name is Dave. Glad to have you back. This is episode 7. We're going to be talking about your podcast trailer. Okay, this is something you need right at the beginning of your podcast journey is a trailer. One of the three things that you need to get started. And this is really important, and it's kind of your business card, your foot in the door to get people interested in your show. So we're going to be talking about creating a podcast trailer and how to do it the right way here on the How to Podcast series. Here we go. Okay, so your podcast trailer is that introductory episode where people are going to come most likely for the first time to your show. And on most players, when you go to your phone, you go to a podcast of your choice, and at the top is a pinned episode at the very top. And that just kind of stays there no matter what happens below, whatever episode you're on. There's one that's kind of pinned at the top. And that's your trailer. That's what people will come to first. And check out your show and see if it's a show for them. So creating a podcast trailer is a great way to introduce your podcast to potential listeners and build anticipation for what's to come in your episodes. So here are some steps that you can follow to create a compelling podcast trailer here on the How to Podcast series. Number 1, start with a hook. Your trailer should grab the attention of your listener right from the start. Start with a hook that highlights the unique aspect of your podcast and why someone should listen to your show. What is that for you? Now, if you've done any work as far as figuring out who your listener is and what your content is, you should have a good idea of what makes your podcast stand out in a sea of other podcasts, and in comparison to other podcasts that are similar to yours. What makes your podcast unique and different? Just like when you go fishing and you put the bait on the hook and you cast out into the water, you have a better chance of catching a fish if you use the right bait. So let's hook people into your podcast with a trailer right from the beginning. Number 2, keep it short. Your trailer should be no longer than like 60 to 90 seconds. Let's keep it short, concise, and to the point. You want to give enough information to entice listeners, but not so much that it becomes overwhelming or boring. Not for a first impression. Please don't go into your story of when you had a lemonade stand when you were 5 and how that started your entrepreneurial journey. No. Let's get something that really hooks the listener and goes, I have to follow, subscribe, and be a part of this podcast because this trailer is amazing. Think about that. Number 3, introduce yourself and your podcast. Tell the listener who you are and what your podcast is all about. This is your chance to establish your credibility and showcase your personality. To that end, don't read this part. Talk to your listener as if they're right across from you. You can reach across. You can touch their arm. They're right there. That's how close they are. What would you say to them? Would you pull out a notebook and start to read to them like they're not in the room? No. Talk to them as if they're right there in front of you. Introduce yourself. Number 4, highlight your best content. Now, once you have a few episodes recorded, you can go back and re-record your trailer as many times as you want, as often as you want. And it can be that episode that people click on first. You could have 200 episodes and go back and update your trailer. Maybe you have some new information. Maybe you have a new name for your show. Maybe you have more information about you. Maybe you just want to make it sound a little bit more like your voice in the future. You can come back to this episode, re-record it, re-upload it, replace the audio with the new audio, and no one would ever know that you've done it. So you can then bring clips in from future episodes and bring those clips in and then have like a little taste of the episodes in your trailer. Do that in the future if that interests you. It's another way to grab somebody's attention because you want to be unique. Highlight some of your best content. Use clips and excerpts from your upcoming episodes to showcase your best content. This will give listeners a taste of what they can expect when they hit play and what's going to be like when you show up on their phone every week, every month, every 2 weeks, whatever your podcast schedule is. Number 5, some sort of call to action. End your trailer with a call to action, encouraging listeners to subscribe to your podcast. Some people like to ask for you to leave a review. Great. That's nice. Or follow you on social media. My suggestion is to have a website and send people to your website. Why? Because your social media landscape might change in the future. And again, you can come back and update this episode. No problem. But in the future, you might be really into this social media platform right now, but something happens, a change happens, and in the future, you kind of walk away from that channel. You're no longer on that thing, and you're over here instead. So if you send them to your website, you can have links to all of your social media in one location. And it's a lot easier to give them one address to go to instead of follow me on Twitter, like me on Pinterest. I'm over here on MySpace, and I have a YouTube channel. And the list goes on, right? Nobody's going to remember all that. One location, send them there, and then have links at that location for all of the other places they can find you. It's a lot easier for somebody to click one link, remember one web address, and go there instead of trying to remember all of the different handles you have. So one call to action, add that in there at the end of your trailer so people can get in touch with you and follow you and leave you comments and respond to you directly. And last, number 6, edit and polish. Once you've recorded your trailer, edit it to make it sound professional. You can add music. You can add sound effects. You can add other elements to make it more engaging and appealing to listeners. Remember, when somebody clicks on your podcast for the first time, what do they hear? What would make them put their phone into their pocket, stick it under the dash in that little compartment as they're driving, or set it beside their computer and get back to work at their job? What would it take to have somebody put their phone down and listen to your show? Keep that in mind and build that into your trailer, because that is a great way to engage your audience and make sure that they really are interested in who you are. Remember, your podcast trailer is your first impression for potential listeners. So make sure it accurately represents your podcast and captures their attention the second they push play. And again, you can update your trailer anytime. You're not going to this is not something you create once and you never get to touch it again. You can come back and do this as often as you want so that your next new listener who goes to your trailer will hear the recent episode from you, a recent communication from you to them on why they should listen to your podcast. If you need any help with your trailer, head over to howtopodcast.ca. It's my website. There's a little speak pipe icon on my website. You click it, you can leave a 90-second voice message. It comes straight to me in email. I'll give you a voice message back as well. We can play tag with a voice message back and forth. And I'd love to help you with your trailer. If you want somebody to listen to your trailer, I'll love to do that. Send me a link to it. Send me a copy of it. Email it to me. Whatever you like to do. I would love to hear your trailer. If you have any questions at all, howtopodcast.ca. My name is Dave, and my job, my goal, my desire is for you to create your show, share your story, because no one else in this entire world can do your podcast except for you. And I'm here to help you do that. howtopodcast.ca. Best place to go. Again, there it is. And you'll find all my links to social media. How to can you touch with me? All that information. howtopodcast.ca. Lots of great episodes coming up for you here on the podcast. And I can't wait to talk to you. Yes, you. And help you start your podcast. Thanks for listening. Catch you on the next one.